Joseph had been in prison for years, not because he had committed a crime, but because he had done the right thing and suffered for it. He had resisted the advances of Potiphar's wife. He had chosen integrity over pleasure and obedience over compromise. Yet instead of being rewarded, he found himself in chains. The dreams God had given him as a teenager seemed farther away than ever. Once he had worn the robe of a favored son. Now he wore the garments of a prisoner. Once he had dreamed of leadership. Now he lived among prisoners. Yet Scripture quietly tells us something remarkable. But the Lord was with Joseph. Genesis 39:21. That phrase appears again and again throughout Joseph's story. God was with him in the pit. God was with him in slavery. God was with him in prison. This story shows that God's ways are not always our ways. God is a God of process. Even when he has a glorious future prepared for us, he still takes us through a journey that can be unpredictable and difficult. Then, one morning, something unusual happened. 2 new prisoners arrived, the chief butler and the chief baker of Pharaoh himself. Both had offended the king and had been placed in the same prison where Joseph was confined. One night, each man had a troubling dream. The next morning, Joseph noticed something. Their faces had changed. They were troubled. And Joseph asked a simple question. "Why do you look so sad today?" Genesis 47. It seems like an ordinary question, but it changed everything. Joseph could have ignored them. He could have become consumed by his own pain. After all, he had been betrayed by his brothers, falsely accused by his master's wife, and left in prison for a crime he never committed. It could easily have seemed that God had abandoned him. He had his own problems. Yet in the middle of his suffering, Joseph still had room to notice someone else's pain. That is one of the most beautiful qualities of Joseph's character. Prison had not made him bitter. Disappointment had not made him selfish. Delay had not destroyed his compassion. While waiting for God to change his circumstances, Joseph continued serving people. The butler and baker explained that they had dreams, but no one could interpret them. Joseph replied, "Do not interpretations belong to God?" Genesis 48. Notice what Joseph did not say. He did not say, "I used to hear from God." He did not say, "God has abandoned me." He did not say, "My own dreams have not come to pass, so why should yours matter?" Years of hardship had not destroyed his confidence in God. His circumstances had changed. His faith had not. Joseph interpreted the dreams. The baker's dream foretold his execution. The butler's dream foretold his restoration. And exactly as Joseph said, it happened. Before the butler left, Joseph made one request. "Remember me when it is well with you." Genesis 40:14. Surely freedom was near. Surely the prison doors would open, but they did not. Genesis 40 ends with one of the saddest sentences in Joseph's story. The chief butler did not remember Joseph, but forgot him. Genesis 40:23. Forgotten again. Forgotten by his brothers, forgotten in prison, forgotten by the very man he helped. Vain is confidence in man. Whenever people help us, it is because God has orchestrated it. Our help comes from the Lord, and he will not share his glory with another. 2 more years passed. Silence, waiting. No release, no explanation. Yet heaven had not forgotten. The God who remembered Noah in the ark, remembered Hannah in her barrenness, and remembered Israel in Egypt had not forgotten Joseph. At the appointed time, Pharaoh had troubling dreams. Suddenly the butler remembered, and Joseph was called from the prison to the palace to interpret the king's dream. One moment, everything changed. What if Joseph had refused to help the butler because he felt abandoned? What if bitterness had closed his heart? Instead, Joseph kept his focus on God. In a single day, he moved from prisoner to governor, from chains to authority, from obscurity to influence. What if Joseph had never asked that question? What if disappointment had silenced his gift? What if he had decided that helping others was pointless because nobody was helping him? Humanly speaking, Pharaoh may never have heard his name. The very connection God would later use began with a simple act of compassion inside a prison. This pattern appears throughout Scripture. David served faithfully before becoming king. Ruth gleaned faithfully before entering her destiny. Esther served faithfully before saving a nation. Jesus taught that those who are faithful in little will be entrusted with much. Luke 16:10. Many people are waiting for a platform while neglecting the people God has placed beside them. Many are praying for open doors while ignoring opportunities to serve. Many are asking God for promotion while withholding their gifts. Joseph teaches a different lesson. Serve where you are. Use what God has given you. Remain faithful even when nobody notices. Care about people even when your own heart is hurting. The prison was not Joseph's destination, but it was part of his preparation. And the same God who worked through that prison is still at work today. Perhaps you feel forgotten. Perhaps promises seem delayed. Perhaps doors remain closed. Do not let disappointment make you stop serving. Do not let delay make you stop believing. Do not let hardship make you stop caring about others. The next step in God's plan for Joseph began with 5 words. Why do you look so sad? A simple question. A simple act of compassion, a divine appointment disguised as an ordinary day. You may not know what God is preparing through the small acts of faithfulness you offer today. So keep serving, keep trusting, keep noticing people, keep using your gifts, and remember, people may forget you, but God never does. Thank you for watching. We hope you have been encouraged. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe for more inspiring stories.